Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. I am Shawnta Jackson, and my purpose in life is to help people to help themselves and others. Thank you for joining me today. We are streaming live on both Facebook and YouTube, so don't forget to share this video, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, and please do enter your questions and comments in the chat box. My topic today is Women Rising Up, and my guest is Hanna Olivas. And Hanna is born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada, and she's on a mission to help women rise up to become their brave and beautiful selves while cultivating their dreams and becoming unstoppable. Hanna will share with us her mission and her purpose for empowering women, and then also share a little bit about her personal story and her battle with an incurable blood cancer. Everyone, thank you again for joining. I am Shawnta Jackson, and please do like and share this video. And at this time, I'll bring on Hanna.
Good morning. How are you?
Hi, Hanna. Good afternoon. Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. You are in Las Vegas. I'm in the Baltimore, Washington area, and I appreciate this connection and this time that we are about to share together. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here with you.
Yes, we just, a few days ago, I served as a guest on your podcast, She Rises. I was a little nervous, as always, and I keep telling you about that. And that's something that I think I should stop saying, just period. I think I'm going to stop saying that from this point forward. But I enjoyed the interview with you and your daughter, correct?
Yes. My co-host is my daughter, Adriana.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about She Rises, the podcast, and before we get started, and your purpose behind that.
So She Rises, the podcast, is something that Adriana and I have worked on for about a year now. And the whole reason that we started She Rises Studios and the network is because we really wanted to create a community where we could educate and celebrate women globally. Not just women entrepreneurs, but women from every single part in their journey, in their life, whatever that looked like, for the career woman, the college student, the woman entrepreneur. And we really wanted to empower them. We wanted to reach them wherever they were in life and just really show them how important we are as women, how important we are as a community. And it just went from there.
Thank you. And I commend you for that. And then I see that you also have an upcoming event. It's a 3-day seminar, or is it a 2-day seminar?
So we have She Rises Women's Empowerment Summit. It's in May, and we have 12 amazing speakers. It's 2 days. It's May 14th and 15th, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 2 p.m. And we are going to be talking about overcoming adversity, financial freedom, women entrepreneur. We're even going to cover subjects like how to publish your own book, how to become a best-selling author. We're going to talk about how to handle things that trigger us. It's going to cover so many aspects that we as women face on a daily. And these women who are on our platform are speaking from their own personal journeys. And so we're pretty excited to share that with everybody.
Well, thanks for that. And everyone on the screen, if you want more information about the upcoming seminar and then also about the podcast, visit SheRisesStudios.com. And you just mentioned helping women if they're interested in becoming authors. That will be a part of some of the topics as well. You just recently released a book with 20 other women. Tell us about that and how that came about.
Oh my goodness, that was an intense project. So I was one of the 20 co-authors with Galit Ventura Rosen. She is the main author, and the book is called The Successful Women's Mindset, 21 Different Journeys of 21 Different Women. And it was amazing because we all are so different as authors. I was never even a writer before. So this particular project really stretched me to the core because I wanted to make sure that I could personally encourage women who are reading this about what a successful mindset is from a person who is facing a terminal diagnosis, from a woman who was never involved in becoming a speaker or a writer. And I wanted to show them that anything is possible. And with the other women, they have such an amazing background and so much talent. I was able to learn from each one of them, and the book cultivated into a best-selling book, which is really super exciting. And it was just an awesome experience to be a part of. And so now it's out.
And congratulations on that. And you do have an amazing journey, which I would like to talk about. But before we do, I'll take the time just to check in in the chat, just to see who's watching. We have Raquel. Raquel is watching from Las Vegas, and happy Saturday to you as well, Raquel. So everyone, please do chime in and ask your questions. And so you were speaking about the book talks about the journey of you and 20 other women. Tell us about you, Hanna, and your journey.
So I am a native from Las Vegas. I am a mother. I'm a wife. I have two of the most adorable grandbabies in the world. And prior to my diagnosis, which we can get into a little bit, I was involved in the beauty industry. I was a makeup artist by trade for over 20 years. And honestly, I had a passion always in my heart for helping women with domestic violence issues. And so all this time, up until about 4 years ago, I honestly thought that's where my journey was going to take me. I was going to really become more involved with that, and really just, I've always wanted to help women. And then in 2017, I was what I considered to be in my prime, married, traveling, running my own business, just living life, how we all want to. And I was feeling very ill, and I really thought it was just something that was stress induced from being so busy all the time. And I was wrong. I was diagnosed in 2017 with a rare, and I say rare because I'm a female. I don't meet the age criteria for the diagnosis that I was given, but it's called multiple myeloma. And so the journey and my whole life completely shifted that moment for me. And I do talk about that in the book, just the overwhelming feeling of, whoa, what just happened? And the diagnosis is something that I cannot control, so I had to learn how to live with this diagnosis of multiple myeloma, which is a blood cancer. And so once I began living this new journey and being put through different treatments and testing and all these things, it just really shook my soul that I could not possibly be the only woman out here like this that is struggling with the emotions that I was struggling with, depression, fear, all these different things that just came over me like a wave that I couldn't escape. And so it really made me have to stop and think, okay, so now I have a new journey, a beginning of a new journey. How am I going to live this journey? And it just went from there.
What brought you to that point? So you have this self-realization and that you have this journey, but you just mentioned of all of the emotions that you went through, including depression. What did you do, or who supported you, and how did you overcome that depression?
So I've always had an amazing support team with my husband and my children. My family has always been there for me. And it wasn't the support. It was something, Shawnta, that I had to dig deep within myself, because every time I go to the doctor, I hear not so good news. And there was just this one time that I went in and I had this horrible attitude, because I don't like to go to the doctor. I don't think anybody does. But there was something that he said to me, and it came to the conversation of prognosis and how much time I had. And it was laid out on the line. And I thought, you know what? that's it. That's it. I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to accept this the way that they're telling me that it's going to be. And I have to start living my life. And I realized at that point, I hadn't been really living my life how I wanted to. I was always it was always being ran by something. And now I wanted to design my life, make the memories, do the things that I wanted to do. I began to create a what we call a bucket list, most of us. And I thought, you know what, that bucket list is not enough. It didn't sound right to me. And so I changed it to my live it list. And I just really got very intentional about what I wanted my life to look like for however much time I have here and all the things that I want to experience, accomplish. And I also had to teach myself to be in the present moment, not worrying about everything else. And I had to learn not to respond in fear. And I'm not perfect at it. I am human and I do sometimes slip, but through affirmations, through a ton of prayer, through journaling, through writing, through meeting other men and women who are going through similar journeys, I learned so much. And it just really helped me to change my mindset from dying to living. And that's how I've chosen to live my life from that point on. And it happened, in a doctor's office. I got up, I was angry, I left, and I thought that is not going to be me. And how I felt at that moment would never happen again.
I'm just, as you're speaking, my face and my eyes are lighting up, and just the light that that's within you, it transferred over to me. And I appreciate you talking about the bucket list and positive affirmations and journaling, and how we originally met. We connected on, I believe we have mutual Facebook friends, and so I think that's where the connection. And then you purchased a copy of my book, and you subscribed to my mailing list as well. And we kind of reached out to each other. This was maybe within the past 2 weeks. Hey, let's be on each other's platforms, right?
Absolutely.
And you mentioned to me that you read my book twice and that you're actually going to start doing the journaling behind that. And I'm glad that you mentioned the bucket list, because I too feel the same way as you, that most people think of a bucket list as something that you do before you die. But as I mentioned in my book, it's not that I'm writing a list of things to do before I die. This is while I'm living. And as I check things off of my bucket list, I'm going to continuously add things on. And so I'm glad that you said that. And I hope that Hannah's words and then my affirmation behind Hannah's words resonate with you in the audience as well. And so tell us a little bit about, so you shared your journey, and like you said earlier, you were thinking, you know what, I can't be the only person that's going through this. And so this brings us to Brave and Beautiful Blood Cancer Foundation. Could you please tell us a little bit about the foundation?
Yes. So I had this crazy idea that, I was suffering obviously from physical symptoms myself of going through my own diagnosis. I was going through different treatments, but one of the things that really prompted me to start the foundation was because we were having a hard time receiving the medical treatment that I needed in Las Vegas. And so that required my husband and I to be traveling. Our journey started at the Mayo Clinic. And then because of insurance issues, the Mayo Clinic was no longer an option for us. And we were then sent to UCLA. And luckily, our doctor at UCLA was very honest in saying, I think you need something more intense than what I can even offer you. And so we were sent to City of Hope. So during this whole time of being ill and having to travel as a sick patient, I thought, wow, this is crazy. How come we don't have the things that we need for patients here in Las Vegas? We're the mecca of entertainment, and everything else, what happened to our medical system? And I began to really try and research and find out, is there anybody else here like me in Las Vegas? And during that research, not only did I find that there's so many families affected with blood cancer here that do have to travel outside of the state just to get medical care, I also found that this is something that happens across our country and that we needed more of a voice. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to open up my own foundation and I'm going to bring that awareness to our country, to our states, everything, so that people understand. Because when we say blood cancer, a lot of people don't even know what that means. And blood cancers are leukemia, lymphoma, multiple myeloma. There's so many subclasses of blood cancers too. And the more I began to research and the more I began to share my own personal story, these people came from everywhere asking for help. And it just kind of went from there. And our focus when we opened the foundation was to strictly be for Nevada, to help Nevada patients and their families. And it just kind of flourished from there. So we've been open now almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in September. And we do, you know, we've seen some amazing and sad journeys come across from patients into the foundation. But our goal remains the same. We want to help everyone who's been diagnosed with the blood cancer and be that voice, because some people are so ill that they cannot speak up. They can't share their story. They can't share their journey. And they're looking for someone to do that, you know, for them. And that's why I decided to go public, because I thought this can't be the way that it is right now. It has to change. And believe me when I tell you, there are so many people who are suffering with blood cancer right now as we speak, and also undiagnosed because of the pandemic, because people are afraid to go to the doctor. So I think that as time goes on and our nonprofit grows, it's just going to continue, and we're going to be a huge backbone to patients and their families.
And thank you for that. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being you. And thank you for, because this is something that you could have just dealt with privately with your family. And the fact that you stepped up and say, you know what, I want to be an advocate for other patients and other families and support them. And so in addition to bringing awareness and providing the emotional support and resources to family, some of the resources that you provide, I understand that you also have a program where you assist with some medical payments. Am I correct?
So we offer co-payment assistance. We offer rental assistance. I think, you know, financial is always, of course, important, because as patients, they are often not able to work. A lot of them, you know, especially with multiple myeloma patients, it can be very debilitating very quickly. And so the financial side, yes, it's 100% important, but more so and I'm speaking personally as being a patient, our focus was on nutrition. Our focus is on mental health, because we didn't want our minds to follow what our body is saying. And so we put a major focus in the awareness side of getting blood cancers understood, and the focus for the patients as far as helping them with emotional support, nutritional support. But we have several different programs, and we also do work with pediatric children who have been diagnosed with blood cancer as well.
Thank you, everyone. Brave and Beautiful Blood Cancer Foundation. Visit their website, bbbcf.org. Again, Brave Beautiful Blood Cancer Foundation. That's what the acronym stands for. So bbbcf.org. And please do consider, if you are considering donating, or maybe you have a birthday coming up and instead you want your friends to gift or adopt a nonprofit organization, please do consider Brave and Beautiful Blood Cancer Foundation. And then also, if you or someone in your family or a friend or neighbor is suffering from blood cancer or is recently diagnosed, this is also a resource for them to be able to find other individuals that can possibly support them. So please do visit the website. And at this time, I will check into the comments and let's see who's joining us. We have In Your Ear Radio. Good morning, ladies. And we have my mother. She says, good morning. Congratulations to the both of you on your many great accomplishments. Hanna, you are beautiful, strong inspiration. Keep the faith. And she's in Las Vegas as well. And we have Falcon Star Ali. He is in Uganda in East Africa. And he says, this story inspires every person, not only women. Thanks, Hanna, for being a strong woman. Thank you, Falcon. And we have Von Norwood, my aunt in Mississippi, and she says, this is definitely a great cause, your foundation. And Raquel says yesterday was her birthday. It's not too late. It's not too late, Raquel. It's not too late. Even for you, even if you're $20 or something for your own birthday, if you want to donate, I think that's a great idea as well. And Hanna, you mentioned, and I want to shift the conversation to women empowerment. But before we do, one last thing, you mentioned nutrition. And so what are some things that you've learned about nutrition and how to best support your body and your and purifying your blood or supporting your immune system?
Well, for me personally, one of the things that I learned was there were certain vitamins and certain fruits that I couldn't eat just because of the type of blood cancer that I have. Through research and conversations with all my oncologists, we decided that becoming vegetarian was the best route to go. Staying, clean and true, organic. Everything had to be organic. But along with the nutrition, they always tell me, you need to move because, we get chemotherapy where I'm getting immunotherapy and all those things now. And if I become inactive, it just kind of settles. And so they're stressing, to keep moving, exercise, and also eating the cleanest of the cleanest, which is sometimes hard because with the types of treatments that I do get, I get cravings. And I have to be strong and not feed into those cravings. But I do use a lot of different supplements to help keep my energy up and to help fight what's happening in my body, to try to keep my heart healthy, my mind, even down to my kidneys and lungs, because multiple myeloma can attack the major organs. So it's a lot of information. And each patient is different and requires different things, but that's been pretty much for me is just becoming vegetarian. And I'm Hispanic and we love carne asada. So it was definitely a major change for me to not be able to, eat what everybody else eats. And you have to be disciplined. We're fighting for our lives. And so we have to learn how to fight strategically. And that is with nutrition.
Yeah. And I would like to add, in addition to nutrition, not just what we put in our body, but also what we put on our bodies. I interviewed a woman, a Fancy Free Hair and Skin from Baltimore, Maryland, and she's a chemist by trade, a board certified chemist, and she makes natural skincare products. And she was talking about the different chemicals, the carcinogenic or chemicals known to cause cancer, through research that are included in a lot of our beauty and body products that we use, our soaps, our lotions, and different things like that. And so in addition to nutrition, I would just like to add for anyone who's watching, also what you put on your body, because it can get into our bloodstreams as well.
Absolutely true. Very true.
Okay. And so women rising up, being brave and beautiful, cultivating your dreams. On your podcast, you have an episode about the 5 C's for cultivating your dreams. Could you please share those with us?
So the 5 C's to cultivating our dreams, obviously the first one is to cultivate. What is your dream? Why do you have this dream? Like, this is the part where you really have to dig deep and get creative with yourself and think like, okay, what is it that I want for my life? Where do I see myself? Am I willing to grow? Am I willing to change? What does all that look like? So you have this process where all these different things, you're cultivating it, you're thinking it, you're dreaming it, you're building it. And then you have to get clear, which is the clarity, and put it down on paper. I always say I'm so old fashioned. I write everything down. And anybody who knows me, and I've worked with some strategists and business coaches, they always laugh because they're computer savvy and I'm just good old fashioned journal, notebook, and then the computer comes. So the cultivating the clarity, not how you're going to do it, but the clarity as to why do you want to do it. And after that, we talked about, our curse or our gift. And that part of the podcast came up because we were trying to decide, as a young woman, I had to think like, what made me stand out differently from everybody else? I always felt different. I never was in with the in crowd, so to speak. I kind of walked to the beat of my own drum. And sometimes I looked at it as a curse and sometimes I looked at it as a gift. And when I was diagnosed, I realized after all these years, it wasn't a curse. What I had was a gift, and it was my strength. I had strength of, even as a little girl, I had the strength of a woman, the perseverance. And I learned how to utilize that, and it came in and really began to grow during my diagnosis time. After that, I had to figure out, what is my calling? Like, who is Hanna Olivas? What is my calling? Obviously, my journey's changed. So what is that? What does that calling look like? How can I help other people, not just sit and worry about myself? Because, I can't change the diagnosis, but I can change how I live with the diagnosis. And I thought maybe if others were watching me share my story, it would cause them to come up and be a voice or speak out or even be comfortable in their own skin. So we talked about the calling, and then community. I'm huge on community. So, and this goes with anything. When you're trying to become a business owner, or you're going to college, or you're a grandma, whatever that is, whatever that looks like to you, staying in a community of people who are positive, who you can align with, that have similarities to you, that want to empower your dreams, your goals, your ambitions. You want to align yourself with those people. And I call that community, or in my words, my she tribe. And I absolutely feel that having the support of others around you makes all the difference in the world. Because if I'm hanging around or aligning myself with someone that may be in a different part of their journey, they may feel sad, they may feel depressed, they may feel anxious. There could be so many things. And if I'm constantly exposing myself to that, then I become that. So I've had to learn to align myself with the proper like-minded people so that I can continue to grow and reach that next level in life. And then the other C, that's my favorite, is contribution. How do I give back? I've received so many things from so many people in support and love and encouragement and prayer and so across the world. And so how can I give that back? And that's honestly where She Rises formed from, was because I wanted to give back to all those women and men who poured into me and filled my spirit. Now it's my turn to give it back. So yeah. Those are the 5 C's.
Definitely. Actually, I think I have 6. I have cultivate, clarity, your curse or gift, calling, community, and then contribution. So I think the contribution was the bonus.
Yes.
And I actually, when you were speaking, I resonate with a lot of things that you were saying. So definitely community. And with me, I find community is important, not just when you're down, but just throughout, because it's a journey, right? And yes. So in your community, it doesn't mean that you have to switch and have new community members I mean, that happens naturally as well. But your communities can thrive together. Everyone
Absolutely.
can thrive together and can grow together. And so for me, it's important for me to cultivate and be intentional about nurturing those relationships where I know that those people are with me on my journey. And it's not just when I'm down. I can depend on them and they can depend on me, and we encourage each other. But also when you're up and when you're high and when you're feeling good, that's the worst thing. And that has happened to me with actually very close people that I thought at one point that were part of my tribe or in my community, where you have good news and good exciting things are happening for you, and you have these ideas and you share it, and that person doesn't give you the response that you would have expected or that you would have gave them. So then there's that disappointment that comes with that. So I've dealt with all of that as well. But yes, I definitely think community is very important, because it's the relationships, and relationships, whether it's business, personal, whatever you choose, relationships can make you or break you as well. And definitely the contribution. I think we all should be striving to provide value, even if we have a product or service. There's a value that you should be bringing to people. And this is one of the reasons why I choose to have this platform and other platforms that I'm creating, is because of all of the skill set that I have. I want to be able to provide value to others and to be true to myself. So calling, to be true to myself. And like you said, when you were a child, you, as a little girl, you had the strength of a woman, and a lot of the things, you were a little bit different, and your gifts sometimes seemed like it was a curse.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you stepped into your own self, and you're just being true to yourself, and you're being who you are too, and being true to your calling. And I think that's why the blessings continue to pour in for you. And then a lot of times when you don't necessarily have the big strategy or the big plan, or you don't necessarily know like all of the steps to take, but because you're following your calling, you always know the best next step. And whatever resource you need, whatever person you need, all the connections that you made that you didn't even know would be valuable to you, they all come to the forefront right when you need them, because you're following your calling. So I appreciate your words for that. And that's what I got from everything that you just said about the 5 C's.
Wow, I'm glad. I think one of the things that you just touched on too, as far as the community, when you were speaking on, sometimes we are expecting our family or our closest of friends to support us in our journey. And sometimes throughout our journey, we lose those who are closest to us because they don't understand the level that we're going to. They may not be ready. And when you said, having someone there in the good and the bad times, but you said the good, that's what I focus on, is celebrating every step of growth for me and for my community who I'm involved with. Every single step that you make towards something positive should be celebrated. And that's a huge thing. I think women, men, whoever is listening to this, no matter what that small step is, you're taking steps towards the right direction, and every single one of those need to be celebrated. The growth that what you see today and how I am today versus 4 years ago, it's incredible. And it's God, he, like you said, the alignment of people come at the right time. And it's incredible.
Yes, it is. Very much so. And we have Donica Beckett checking in, and she says that she's been there when I was giving my example of community and the disappointment. And so she says that she's also been there. And Raquel posted a comment when you were talking about nutrition, and some fruits to you were a no. And so Raquel, it's not that fruit is a no. It's just, and as Hanna, and I understood the way you explained it, and why you explained it the way that you did is because every individual is different. Mm-hmm. And there's different types of blood cancer. So you don't want to give advice that works for you and give out the wrong information that probably doesn't work for someone else. So Hanna was saying that some fruits based off of her diagnosis were not or are not good for her. And so I just wanted to address Raquel's comment on that. And and so we talked about the 5 C's, and you have an upcoming seminar again, and some people are just tuning in. So remind us again. But I know the purpose of the seminar is to help women to become unstoppable.
Yes. All women should be unstoppable. Nothing should ever stop any of us from cultivating our dreams, for living out our best life. And becoming that unstoppable woman is a journey in itself. It's amazing. It's fun. It's exciting. And it's something that all women should experience. We do have a Women's Empowerment Summit coming up on May 14th for She Rises Studios. And as I mentioned earlier, we have 12 amazing speakers from all over the world who are coming together to share with women their personal journeys, their strategies on how to become unstoppable. And some of the things that we're going to be talking about is, women entrepreneurship, financial freedom, what triggers us and how do we handle those triggers, adversity, advocacy, and the list goes on, how to become a published author. I mean, there's just so many. When we picked these 12 women, we really wanted to make sure that we covered all aspects. And we really listened to the women who reached out to us. And when they told us, hey, we would love to hear something on this, like we very much try to engage with all women on social media, on our platforms who follow us and reach out to us, to give them the things that they want and need to reach that next level in their life, whatever that looks like for them. So the summit is a 2-day summit. It's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So wherever anybody is in the time zone, but it's going to be in 12 different countries. We have a surprise guest, which I'm actually going to announce on Monday. And we're just really excited. We've had such a great response from women everywhere. I would say whoever has those 2 days, make it a girls' weekend, whatever that looks like, and have fun and be a part of that.
Thank you, definitely. And everyone, She Rises Studios is where you can find more information about that. Again, sherisesstudios.com. And how did you, so your planning committee, so how did this come about? How did you meet these various 12 speakers? When you said we, I want to know the background, the logistics.
So myself and Adriana, she is the co-founder of She Rises Studios. And, we knew the topics that we wanted to talk about, but we really wanted to make sure that we were connecting the right speakers to cover those topics. So we released a mass thing on social media saying, hey, we're looking for speakers. This is what we're looking for. And people, if you wanted to submit, we had them submit videos. We had them submit their topics. We talked to them individually because we wanted to make sure that these women were comfortable talking about these topics and that they could be relatable to other women. So it was a process, and we had over 125 submissions of women, and we had to pick 12, and it was so hard because everybody that submitted had a story. They have a journey. And that's the thing with She Rises Studios. We want to celebrate all those stories, all those journeys. We want to get that out to the world. It needs to be, because where we are in society right now, I feel like the more positivity we share, the more experiences we share, the more honesty that we give as women, it's just going to make society so different. And our world is thirsty for that right now. So when we finally chose our 12, a couple of them are from the book that came out. And that's because those women are incredible. They just, they are powerhouses, and we would be silly not to have them be involved. But it was a process because, we want them all, but we can't have 125 speakers in a summit like that. So Adriana did a lot of screening. I did a lot of screening, and we just, we followed each other's lead. I wish she could be here today, but maybe another time. She is amazing at reading people and understanding and really listening. And she's an incredible, incredible woman and asset to She Rises. She makes me rise, and I'm her mom, and I learn from her, on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I don't know how many people are fortunate enough to work with their children, but me working with her and us forming this amazing global company has just been life-changing. We don't even think about me being sick. We're so busy focused on all the amazing stuff that my illness doesn't come up like that anymore. And that in itself is a gift.
Yes, and I like the fact that you said you went from Las Vegas, and I know there are other people in Las Vegas that I could support and that I can help, and you just went from Las Vegas to global.
Yes.
And so congratulations on that. I'm very proud of you. And by just watching you and listening to you speak, it's motivational for me as well. And I'm pretty sure it's motivational for those in the audience as well. And you have Adriana Luna checking in, and she says, "I'm here, Mom, and I love you." Yes, thank you. Yeah.
It's, another part of She Rises that I absolutely love is, Adriana is 26 years old. And there's so many women in that age group, 25 to 30. And these women are amazing. They are intelligent. They're beautiful. They're smart. They're worthy of every single good thing in life. And my wish and my hope for She Rises is that as this grows, and it is growing like crazy, that these women will understand their worth and their power, because each one of them has it. And, I'm 46 years old. So when I talk to women, I tend to talk to the midlife age. I don't know what we're calling that now, but, and even us, we go through things that the younger girls don't go through. As we get older, we change, but we're still beautiful. We're still powerhouses. We're getting wiser and smarter and clearer on what our dreams and goals are, and we even talk to the teen girls, She Rises Teen. We get to work with those girls and show them, like, hey, you know what? You can design your entire life and then go live it, whatever that looks like to you. But watching the age of like 25 to 30 is incredible, because these women are on fire, and they're going to lead us, even 30 to 35, these women are just incredible women who I say they're fearless, like they have no fear. And I love watching the growth. I love watching the growth in our community and just seeing where these women are taking all these things that they're learning and their talents, and they're doing something with it. And the humbleness of these women is so heartfelt on so many levels.
Yes, everything you just said is just yes, yes. I don't know if you're familiar with Lisa Nichols or not.
She's she's yes.
And Donica says, yes, we are. Thank goodness for growth and wisdom after 40. And Keita Williams is checking in Texas, and she says, such a beautiful spirit. And you remind her of her mom, who also had this disease.
Oh.
Yes. So you never know. You never know, who you touch. And so I think it's important for you to continue to do what you're doing. And my last show was on celebrating youth and young women and youth leadership. And so as you say, the future is female. And so thank you for that. And, it's just amazing to me how, you're able to be this businesswoman, this founder of this nonprofit organization, this podcast host, and in your business, you're doing all of these different ventures. You're an author, and you're also a wife, and as you mentioned, a mother, and you're also a Glamma. And with all of that and all of those different roles, how do you take care of yourself? And what are you doing to stay true to yourself and not get caught up in being everything for everyone else?
Self-care. I have to do self-care. If that means just sitting down and watching, I love watching chick flicks. Sitting down in a quiet room and just zoning out, unplugging from social media, reading a good book. I'm constantly doing affirmations to myself. Eating properly makes a big difference, so we don't get that brain fog. Traveling, I love to go to the beach. I know that I'm due for a beach trip now. I can feel it. So that's going to happen. And I have to block everybody out. I have to take that time for me. We as women have got to rejuvenate ourselves, because if we're not pouring into ourselves on a daily and taking care of ourselves daily, we can't take care of anybody else or help anybody else. We're of no use to them. So I really try to I pray a lot. I read a lot. Those things relax me. A good glass of red wine also relaxes me. Bubble baths, and just barbecuing with my family, spending time making those memories. But self-care has to be an every single day part of your regimen. If you don't do it, you'll be sorry. Getting the proper amount of sleep is important. Always focusing on your emotional literacy, and where's your mind at? What are you thinking? What are you focusing on? And it is a process. It is not overnight, because we as women, I believe this to be true. We want to take on the world. We want to change the world. We want to do it all. And we do lose ourselves. We do forget about ourselves. And then what happens is we burn out. So we have to take care of ourselves first. And self-care is number one on my list always.
Yes, and self-care is also accepting help. We talked about this in the podcast, and I was telling you about a meme that I saw where there was this woman holding a baby, and her husband said, "Do you need anything?" And she said, "No." But behind her on the meme was a list of needs and just like of all the things that she had to handle, that she had to take care of. And even though she really did need the help, she said no. So sometimes as women, we think that we have to be this superwoman and that we have to carry this burden of, I don't need anyone, or I can handle it. Not even that I don't need anyone, but I can handle it. I can do it, or I don't want to bother anyone else with doing this. But there are people, again, back to the community, right? And that's why you have a community. And as a woman and as a leader, one of the things that you're going to have to step up to do, a true leader knows how to identify and cultivate talent in others. And a true leader is able to delegate tasks and allow other people to do things, and you not having to be the only one doing it as well.
Right.
So in addition to us being passionate and empowered, we also have to practice building our leadership skills as well, so that way we're actually giving other people the opportunity to be leaders too.
Absolutely. I think too, spreading out, like here for me personally, home wise, my husband is the cook. We decided that in the very beginning when we were dating, so he is a great cook, and he takes that not worry, but that task off of my shoulders of having to, during my busy day, then I need to stop and cook a meal. He takes care of that. We all pitch in and try to help each other so that none of us are overwhelmed. So when you're talking about community, your community is as personal as your family too, and they help. Because without all the support in the community that I have, I wouldn't be able to be doing what I'm doing now. And I don't mind having that help at first. I would always get asked, "Do you need anything?" And my famous words were, "I'm fine." But I really wasn't. I really wasn't fine. And I really needed that help. And part of my growth was learning to accept that help and saying, yes, I do need you. Yes, I would love that help. and not being ashamed, because that doesn't mean that you're weak or you can't handle it. It means that you need that help so that you can put that out there correctly, do what you need to do, and feel good about it and excited and have the energy left to complete the rest of what you have to do.
Yeah, and that's how you go from being local to global as well. So thank you for that. Everyone, thank you for tuning in today, for watching. Thank you, Hanna, Olivas, for joining me. I really enjoyed this conversation. It was very inspirational and motivational for me. And I'm actually excited to end this conversation, this discussion, so that I can move forward with, I have so many ideas. I'm so motivated that it's like, oh, I want to work on this next. I want to do this because Hanna, so thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And Kita, she says that she enjoyed it as well. Yeah, this was a really good conversation.
I'm so glad.
Yes, thank you so much, Hanna. And everyone, as I mentioned, let me pull up Hanna's website. So SheRisesStudios.com. You can learn more about Hanna and her daughter Adriana, her co-founder, and you can learn about their podcast, the Hanna's new book that she co-authored, and then also the upcoming seminar at SheRisesStudios.com. And if you are interested in learning more and or supporting the Brave and Beautiful Blood Cancer Foundation, you can visit the website at bbbcf.org. That's bbbcf.org. And everyone, thank you for watching today's episode with Hanna Olivas. And women rise up because the female is future. Thank you so much. And thanks, Kita. She says that she's proud of me. Thank you. And everyone have a great day. Visit my website, ShawntaJackson.com, to catch up on my happenings. I have a new show starting on LinkedIn starting in May. So if you are a professional and if you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, make sure that you make that connection so you can tune in on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on LinkedIn starting in May. Thank you, everyone, for all of your support and all of your love. And I'll see you next week.
Thank you.